Oops. Hello, YouTube. Okay, there we are. Hello. Hello, YouTube. All right, Discord too. Woo! All right, we're doing better now. All right, let me get TikTok rolling, and then we are ready to rock and roll. Oh, I'm not using my microphone. Hello. Using my microphone might be a good idea, you think? That was a good point there. Oh, let me plug in my mic here as well. Like I said, there was like late news I wanted to include, but I had to talk to a friend and find out what it was. Up there we go. So it threw me in my last minutes of getting ready here. All right, there we go. All right, there we go. Now I can sit back and relax. Excellent. TikTok will adjust you all. There we go. So I get a better view on TikTok. There we go. Hello, Ash. Hello, everybody. How are we all doing this evening? Good evening, Paula. Good evening, all. Sorry, we're a little late. There was some news I wanted to include in the show. So I was talking to a friend in New York, my friend Alan, just to get like the update. So sorry about that. It's a funny thing. I've been watching the series Merlin again. BBC series, really good. But it cracks me up because you can tell it's a British series because twice now in the show, I'm like in year 3 of the show, twice in the show Merlin, a British TV show, BBC, the main character Merlin, who's like 22 years old, has used the word supercilious. And he used it once in like season 1, and he used it again a couple days ago. And I'm laughing because no American TV show, especially something about like a youthful take on King Arthur's, whatever, is going to be using the word supercilious. It's so freaking British. I just think I had to Google it. I mean, like I knew the word, but I didn't remember what it meant. Supercilious, I believe, means condescending. If I'm correct. Supercilious. Oh God, I can't remember the spelling of it anymore. It's a great word. We learned it in high school, like for the ACTs or whatever, or SATs, but I could never remember. I think it means condescending. But it's a great word. But I love that twice in like 2 or 3 years, they use the word, which means it's a writer who likes the word, and that they thought the main character, being 22 years old, would use a word like that. Anyway, it just cracks me up. It so cracks me up. Anyway, welcome everybody. I am John Aravosis. Welcome to my show. Let me get where is this? Sorry, trying to get there it is. My text messages or my messages disappeared from the Discord people. Hey, TikTok. Hey, YouTube. Welcome all. So welcome everybody. I am John Aravosis. This is my show. I'm going to adjust my microphone. Actually, let me know if the mic is too loud because for some reason I have to now put the mic on louder when I am doing my videos for TikTok, but I don't know whether that means they're too loud for you guys today. Thank you for all the gifts there, Tara, KT, Rose, and John. Okay, it's okay on TikTok at least. Okay, good. Because it's still at a pretty strong level. Okay. Because yeah, I even turned it down a little because it's very something. Technology drives me crazy. Something changed. And now my mic level's changed. All right, guys, let's get rolling here. Tomorrow, thank you for the first little panda there. Who was that, Tara? Or was it Tara? It was Tara. Thank you, Tara. And thank you, Ash, for the gift. So tomorrow is our coffee talk, or our coffee talk for the TikTokers. Thank you, Mikey. That's the show I do every Saturday morning to thank the paid monthly subscribers. So all of you guys who are monthly subscribers, it is just for you. Join us tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. Eastern time, US. That's on TikTok, YouTube, and Discord. Just so you know, I am sticking with my old good internet now. Thank you for the hat there, Neil. Thank you, Marcy. So as always, kind of still curious how the internet's working, especially YouTube, because YouTube has been the problem. But I'm using my old. I was trying T-Mobile, it didn't work out. Now I'm using my old internet, so that's fine. Thank you, Denise. Anyway, but let's get rolling. So yeah, the air crash. So just to give you a quick little update on the air crash. So there was a horrific plane crash in Washington, D.C., a plane collision between two planes, one a military helicopter, the other a civilian American Airlines jet carrying 64 people. Everybody was killed. The three service members in the helicopter, the 64 civilians on the airplane. Donald Trump, from the beginning, jumped in and started blaming various people. He's been going back and forth. He initially blamed minorities and claimed it was minority hiring at the FAA that did this, because that's Trump's big, it's called DEI, is his big word for it. Basically, DEI is the latest, and I kind of hate how liberals do this, I have to say, but liberals always have to come up with new words for things. And DEI is the new word to basically mean civil rights, like a civil rights program or civil rights department or equal rights or whatever you want to call it. So it's DEI. And Trump sufficiently demonized DEI when he was running for president. And is wiped out all the DEI departments at the federal agencies. They're gone now. It's just kind of crazy. So Trump initially came out and blamed Biden and Obama for the plane crash and said they hired too many minorities. Fraught with peril, making that argument, obviously. Trump then, this is yesterday, Trump then yesterday turned around and blamed the accident on the military helicopter pilot, even though there was no evidence yet to suggest that. Later in the day, mind you, earlier, he blamed it on the DEI hires, the minority hires. Then he blamed it on the pilot. Then a couple hours later, he blamed it on the minority hires again and blamed Obama and Biden for hiring them. Then this morning, Trump blamed it on the helicopter pilot again. Then at noon, at 1 o'clock actually, and I've got a video on TikTok about this, the Trump White House spokesperson blamed it on minority hires at the FAA again. And specifically, what was really creepy, she specifically mentioned the color of the skin of your pilot. She mentioned it was very creepy what she did. Well, putting that aside for a moment, although it's very sad and very scary, it now latest video looks like it is possible that it might in fact be the pilot of the helicopter. The latest video seems to show the helicopter possibly going into the plane, so we'll see. An important point to note about Trump and all of this: Trump sometimes gets things right, but when you let me make this more generic. When you reach a conclusion on something based on no evidence whatsoever, you don't get credit for reaching that conclusion because you simply made up your conclusion. If you reach a conclusion on any topic and literally you pulled it, from the seat of your pants based on no evidence whatsoever, you don't get credit for that. You don't. It doesn't matter if later on you were right, because you took a guess and it was an uneducated guess. It's not sufficient to blame someone for a crash with no evidence whatsoever, and later you got lucky. You don't get points for that in the world of educated professional presidents and in government, etc. Next, tariffs. So Trump has announced that he's going to be doing his tariffs tomorrow on Mexico, Canada, and China. Mexico and Canada, because you are our best friends, you're going to get more tariffs than China. China's only going to get 10%, but Mexico and Canada, because we actually like you, we're going to give you 25% tariffs starting tomorrow, according to Trump. This is just a mess, obviously. Going to be kind of a disaster. We'll see what happens, but kind of scary, crazy stuff as far as that goes. Thank you, Maddie. I might as well sort of explain this. I think it's useful for people to know this. Tariffs are basically taxes on goods coming into the country. Trump keeps telling people, and he's wrong. I'm being generous for TikTok. I was thinking maybe some point, maybe we'll do a show. I'm almost thinking we do an after show at some point. Like we end TikTok early and then move over to YouTube so I can give you the real news. Because right now I'm censoring myself because our overlords, protectors, don't like it when I criticize Trump. So it's kind of not a good thing, I have to say. Nonetheless, on the tariff front, Trump has been claiming repeatedly for years now, and he knows better because he's been educated on this. Trump claims, and it's false. Thank you, Shane, for the gift, for the panda. Trump claims that tariffs are paid by foreign governments. No, they're not. Tariffs are paid by businesses in the country. So in America, and you can Google this, it's quite simple. When the American government, when Donald Trump puts tariffs on products coming in from Canada, Mexico, and China, the people who pay those tariffs, that means let's step back. What that means? That means when the goods come into our country, they've now got an extra tax on them. So the good comes in, and if let's pretend you're buying iPhones for sale here in America, I don't know, whatever, or cars. The iPhones come in, you paid your supplier $600 an iPhone. If Trump puts a 10% tariff on that, that means you now have to pay your supplier $600 per iPhone, but you've got to pay the US government $60 per iPhone. But it's not the Chinese paying that. It's the American company importing those products. It's the American company that eventually wants to sell you the iPhone, that wants to sell you the refrigerator, that wants to sell you the car. It's the American car company that wants to sell you the car that they had assembled in Mexico. That American car company has got to pay 25% more per car, for example, if there's a 25% tariff. Then the company's got to decide. Now the car price suddenly went up 25%. Okay? If the car price goes up 25% for the company that is going to eventually sell the car, they've got to decide, do we just make less money and keep the price the same for you, the consumer, but now our business just lost a ton of money because we've now been taxed by the US government? Or do we pass the cost on to you in part by raising the price of the good? Two problems. If they raise the price of the good to you, that's inflation. For the company itself, it's already inflation for the company. The company now has to pay the tariff, the tax. And what is that company going to do? If they don't pass the price of the good to you, the consumer, that company has now had to pay 25% more for each good. How is it going to afford that? They're going to afford it by cutting costs in the company. And you know what that means? It's going to mean cutting those of you working for the company. So there are lots of issues with tariffs. The final problem with tariffs is they do not happen in a vacuum. Other countries retaliate. So Canada and Mexico and China will increase their tariffs on goods coming in to their country from America. Now, somebody had asked on TikTok, it was actually a good question. Somebody on TikTok said, well, but if American consumers are paying the tax, or the company, the American company, why does Canada care, right? If Canada doesn't have to pay for the tax, then why do they care if the Americans do? The problem is, you've just made the product 25% more expensive for the Americans. That means the American company might not even buy it anymore from you, because now your product went up 25%, Canada. Maybe we can get it for only 10% more from Singapore or whomever, right? So A, you can lose business that way. B, you lose business because if the cost gets passed along to the American consumer, if the price goes up 25%, for oil from Canada, or lumber from Canada, or refrigerators or cars from Mexico or whatever. If the price goes up 25%, I may not buy that car. If my iPhone price goes up 10% from China, are you going to pay an extra $200 for your iPhone? Maybe, or not 200, but 100. In America, they're cheaper. 100 for the iPhone, maybe. So the problem is, if you're Canada, your product just got to be more expensive in America, which means fewer people are going to buy it. Fewer companies are going to buy it because they'll go to alternatives. Fewer Americans are going to buy it because the price will probably go up in America as well now because of the tariff. And here's the other problem. Prices go up, demand goes down. But it's not like the price goes up so Canada gets more money. The price goes up because Trump put a tax on it. That tax money goes to the US government. So let's not pretend. Mexico sells cars. Let's pretend the car costs $1,000 to make it easy. He just put a 25% tariff on goods from Mexico starting tomorrow. That means the car, instead of costing $1,000, costs $1,250. It went up $250, 25%. That $250 goes to the US government, doesn't go to Mexico. So Mexico's cars now cost more. Fewer Americans will buy the cars. Fewer American businesses will buy the cars, and Mexico loses money. And it's not like I said, it's not like, oh, the price went up, Mexico gets the extra money. No. The price went up because the US government gets the extra money. It's kind of a mess. Anyway, so that's what's up with the tariffs. They start tomorrow. Yay. And other countries will then increase the tariffs on us. That's the other problem. That's bad. That's what helped start the Great Depression in the 1930s. The countries, it was a big sort of trade war going on. I always say this, the US law was, I think, called Smoot-Hawley. And basically, we all started putting higher and higher taxes on the goods from our country. Americans raised ours 20%. They raised theirs 20%. So we raised ours another 20%, more and more and more and more. And it just shut down international trade because people stopped buying things. That's bad. What starts tomorrow? Trump has announced that his tariffs on China, Mexico, and Canada will begin tomorrow. When will prices increase? I mean, prices could increase immediately. We don't know. The problem is with tariffs, what is difficult is you don't know how much companies are going to eat the cost themselves, and how American car companies, a large percentage of American cars are assembled in Mexico. They will now have a large tariff on them tomorrow if the tariff applies to cars. Okay. Will those car companies eat that loss? They've got to pay the US government 25%, hypothetically, of the cost of the car, right? Will they eat that? Will the companies say, well, we don't want to pass that along to consumers and raise prices because they may not buy from us? But if the price of a car just costs 25% more for an American car company, they can't afford that. Companies don't have that kind of money. They're going to have to cut costs. And how do they cut costs? Typically, they do it by laying off workers. So we don't want American workers to be laid off. We don't want American prices to go up. That's the kind of thing that can happen with tariffs. And then, as I said, and the final point is other countries will always raise their tariffs in response. If you put tariffs on a country, the other country will put the same tariffs on you. Maybe not the same even. They'll go after something that America sells in Canada or that America sells in Mexico. It may not be the same product, of course. And then Trump gets pissed off and Trump raises another tariff on Mexico and Canada and China. And so all of a sudden, it's literally called a trade war because it's like a war where you're increasing the prices on each other back and forth. But again, it can end up hurting American consumers because prices can go up, and it can end up hurting us because businesses can lose money, American businesses, and if they lose money, they may start cutting back on employees, and then the economy starts going down. It's very bad. This is why basically Democrats and Republicans both are not fans of tariffs. If anything, ironically, I would say Democrats traditionally might be more fans of tariffs, maybe. Republicans typically get it. They're typically the ones that say, don't interfere with the economy. Wall Street Journal, not happy about the tariffs. Very Republican publication, obviously very conservative publication. We'll see. It's very risky is the point. It's very risky. And, targeted, sure. VXS mentioned that, if they're targeted tariffs, maybe they'll work. Yes. If you are very fine and you have a lot of finesse and you're very careful about what you do and you listen to the experts, right? And you do it very carefully and nimbly, maybe you can do it right. Does what I just described sound like Donald Trump? Right? That's the problem. All right. Actually, I was going to mention really quick. So Canada, the big goods, there's a lot of goods, but Canada, the big goods really are oil and lumber. Everyone talks about lumber is interesting because when I first heard lumber, I went lumber. And then people said building houses, building buildings, like construction work is lumber. If the price of lumber were to go up, then you're talking the prices of housing goes up in America, right? China, electronics, we know that. Tons of electronics. Toys, huge amount of American toys made in China. Mexico, cars, which I said, and food. A lot of agricultural products, including avocados, among other things. Huge amount I think avocados might have even been 90% or some crazy number of American avocados come from Mexico. Really huge. So the FBI, according to late breaking news this afternoon, New York Times, I think it was, an FBI purge is underway by Trump. He has laid off, he's fired half a dozen career officials at the FBI have been fired because they were involved in the investigation of Donald Trump's crimes. So he fired them. And several hundred other FBI employees are now under investigation for being involved in the larger investigation of Trump's various crimes. They're firing these people, folks. They're now investigating hundreds of FBI career civil servants are being investigated. And we'll have to hire lawyers probably because they simply did their job when the government investigated Trump, and mind you, investigated Trump for actual crimes and for crimes that the special prosecutor determined he did in fact commit. Okay. This is obviously outrageous and it's crazy. Mods on TikTok, again, I don't know if you're there today. I'm already seeing some people I'd like you to get rid of. I'm not in the mood for them today. Not in the mood for them. So yeah. Anybody spewing the lies, just get rid of them. Keep our live happy. But just very bad. Very bad. This is not what you do in a democracy. It's not what you do in a democracy. It's not what you do in a free country. It is what unfortunately happens in corrupt places, because corrupt leaders are the ones who basically go and want to gut the police force. They want to gut the federal investigators. They want to gut the Department of Justice, right? For example, Trump also fired the inspectors general, I should say, last week. Inspectors general. It's hard because it's one of those where you've got to do the plural first word. The inspectors general that Trump fired are people that are in the agency. They're apolitical and they're in government agencies in order to root out corruption. He literally fired the anti-corruption police. That's who he fired. These are not political appointees. They're not political at all. They're literally objective anti-corruption people, and Trump fired them all because he wants his own people to be overseeing his own agency. It's basically like saying, I don't trust the objective police. I want to hire my own people as the police to police me. Yeah. This is scary stuff, guys. So Trump, another thing that's going on, Trump is trying to get, or this is an Elon Musk thing, but Trump approved it. They're trying to get federal employees to quit. Elon, remember how Elon fired like 80% of his Twitter employees? Trump wants to fire a lot of federal employees. He then wants to hire a lot of his own people instead. He wants to basically get rid of the regular federal employees, the bureaucracy, not the political people, the actual just regular people. He wants to fire or get rid of. And they emailed them all. They emailed every federal employee this week and told them if we are actually they sent another email today that was kind of crazy. Thank you, Bob. The email today said, your job isn't that important. You can do much more important work in the private sector. It was very weird. It was like telling people their jobs don't matter. You could do a much more fulfilling job in the private sector. And they offered them basically resign right now, and we will pay you through September, basically the fiscal year. The next 9 months will pay you, or the next 8 months, to not work. So we'll pay you for the next 8 months to not work, and that will be considered your severance. So we're not going to buy you out in any other way, but we will buy you out by letting you work, but not work the next 8 months. Now, the problem is what they told people, and this had to be an Elon Musk move because it's crazy. They said, if you agree, reply to this email with the word resign in the subject line. Okay, couple problems here. One, an email from some stranger is not a legally binding contract. It is not a legally binding offer, actually. If you were to resign by first of all, even you resigning by email isn't clear. But if you were to resign by email as a federal employee, they could say, we don't owe you anything. You resigned. We don't owe you 8 months pay. Yeah, some crazy person sent an email. We didn't send it, right? You can't do that. The second problem, as Miss Messy just said, or Miss Missy, if you resign, first you're putting into question unemployment benefits. You don't get unemployment benefits if you resign. You get unemployment benefits if you're laid off or fired, but not resigning. You don't get unemployment benefits for that. Also, your pension, if you resign, that could be I was talking to a federal employee about this yesterday. He said that they got legal guidance telling them, do not resign because, let them relieve you, let them offer you a deal, but don't resign. But as I said, also, the deal they're offering you is in an email. That isn't necessarily. Here's the other problem, and I was talking to another lawyer friend about this today. It's not clear that the Trump administration can even offer this deal. Under the law passed by Congress, you are being paid to do the work at the agency. What the Trump people told people in this email is go ahead and find another job if you want. We'll still pay you for the next 8 months. Do not come to work. You will not do any work and will not be asked to do any work. And you can even grab another job and we'll still pay you for the next 8 months. That is illegal currently under federal law. That was a point that came up this afternoon. It's literally illegal for federal workers to go to take a paycheck and go work somewhere else. And the more general point, Congress doesn't pay you to go work somewhere else. It's not like your boss can say, there's a guy on the corner with a hot dog stand. I like him. He's understaffed. For the next 9 months, I want you to go help the guy on the hot dog stand, run his hot dog stand, but I'll keep paying you to be a lawyer in my office, even though you don't do lawyer. Legally, it's not clear I can do that because I was given the money by Congress to pay a lawyer to lawyer. I was not given by Congress to give a lawyer money to run a hot dog stand, which is what the Trump people are saying. They are saying you can go and do any other work you want and we will pay you. Legally, it may not be legal. But again, this was Elon. Now, Trump approved it, but this was Elon Musk. And Elon came up with the bright idea. Nobody vetted it. Nobody checked with the lawyers to find out if it's even legal. And by the way, the other thing Elon did, which people are very worried about, Elon pulled this trick at Twitter. Elon got a bunch of people at Twitter to quit by offering them buyouts and then didn't pay them. Okay? This is the same guy who's now offering buyouts, so to speak, to people in the US government. Okay, I got news for you, folks. I would not be accepting an offer from Elon Musk. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Anyway, unbelievable. Actually, it was the same letters. Actually, that's very true. User 123 said they were the same letters. It was. The subject line was like fork in the road, was the subject line of Elon's emails to his Twitter staff when he wanted them to leave. They did the same subject line to the federal workers. So Elon literally, like, it was the same email. It's just insane what they're doing. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. What else we got now? Oh, so this was a story. A friend of mine was just telling me this. So, oh God, this is really bad, actually. One of the programs that Trump killed this week when he pulled federal funding. Remember how they pulled federal funding for everything and it shut down the Medicaid computer nationwide? It shut down cancer research. It shut down aid to, certainly humanitarian aid to Ukraine, because they also shut down U.S. foreign aid. Well, part of the foreign aid that they shut down for the next 90 days was AIDS funding. They killed the AIDS program. The international AIDS program is currently gone. There's no money for it. 225,000 people a day in Africa are not getting their AIDS drugs. That will kill them. I mean, literally, that is literally the impact. 225,000 mods, get all the haters, just get them right now, please. 225,000 people a day are not getting their AIDS drugs. When you don't take your AIDS drugs, not only does your viral load go back up, which means you can actually become symptomatic, but it also is a risk that you can become resistant to the drug. Like, it's not just, it's not like, you didn't take your statin for 2 weeks and then you take it again, right? You can become resistant to the disease. Or to the drug. It's a very bad thing. 225,000 people a day in Africa are not getting their AIDS drugs, and it's cumulative. So that basically they said up to, they think 1 million people so far have not gotten their drugs in Africa. The Trump administration claimed 2 days ago that they fixed it. 2 days ago, they claimed they fixed it. And as of today, as of literally 10 minutes ago, before the show started, I talked to some of the top American AIDS activists, and the money has not started again. The program's still shut down. This is, I mean, I don't even know what to call this. It's, if it's unintentional, it's childish. Trump was president before. His people were in office before. They shouldn't be this incompetent that they've literally shut down an AIDS program and hurt 1 million people in Africa. If they're doing it on purpose, it's even worse. I mean, again, we just got rid of a bunch of commenters on TikTok who were saying horrific things about these people, and basically were exalting in the fact that the money was cut and that these people were being hurt. That kind of speaks volume, doesn't it? Really sick. All right, let's move on, guys. We're going to do let's do our Ukraine news, and then we will do our open show, so to speak. We talk about Ukraine. So the way the show works, anybody on TikTok who's new or YouTube or anywhere else, I do a daily news show. We talk about the latest Trump news because it's kind of in the news. I'm in Washington, D.C. I'm a longtime political guy. I've worked as a journalist. I've written for The Economist. I have a law degree from Georgetown, international relations degree from Georgetown. It's called Foreign Service Masters from there. My background has been doing foreign affairs, domestic politics in Washington. I've worked around the world, journalism. So basically, I've been a political expert. And several years ago, decided to start doing shows like this. We started doing it about Ukraine, the war in Ukraine, because I care a lot about it. And again, I know a lot about foreign affairs, and branched out in the last year. Thank you, NJ Patman, for the gift on YouTube. Branched out in the last year to also covering Trump and the election stuff, because the American elections are important. And I mean, I'm a political guy in Washington, D.C. It's difficult not to cover politics, right? Well, now that Trump is president, I think it's important for us to talk about what's going on in America. I think certainly for the Americans, but also, thank you, Dobie. I think for anybody in the rest of the world too, and I think you know this, what happens in America now is very important in terms of your lives as well. So that's what we're talking about. Small plane crash in Philadelphia. Oh, that sounds nasty. Wow. And I get that a lot, KMR. All right, but let's keep going. So let's talk about Ukraine. So this is the part of the show. We just finished the American news. Now we're going to talk about Ukraine, the war, just a couple updates. And then I open it up, and it's a free-for-all. Whatever you want to talk about, again, U.S. elections, the air crash, Trump, Ukraine, whatever you want. Towards the end, we even talk about food and TV shows. It's just sort of a open hangout for whatever you want. All right, let me start talking about Ukraine. So it is day 1071 of Vladimir Putin's 3-day military operation. Thank you, Simon, for the gift. Keep the gifts coming, guys. Russia attacked Odessa's historic center today. Odessa is a very important, beautiful old city in southern Ukraine. Thank you, Dawn. The Russians hit it today, but they hit the historic center. They were not going after military targets. They were going after Ukrainian culture, basically. Thank you, Marie. And thank you, Inger, as well, from Norway, for the Norwegian gift as well on YouTube. That was very sweet of you. Thank you. Thank you, Marion, JPT. Sky News. Oh, this was interesting, too. So the Russians are also reportedly closing in on the key Ukrainian city of Pokrovsk, which is a key logistical hub in the east. Sky News says if Russia were to succeed in taking over Pokrovsk, which has a pre-war population of 60,000, it would be in a strong position to launch attacks in the east, putting further pressure on Kyiv as the war nears the 3-year mark. Honestly, none of that's really news. Thank you, Jorge. The Russians are making slow advances. They continue making slow advances. It's slow, but they're advancing. And to some degree, that provides them an incentive to keep going because, again, they're winning slowly. Now, slowly sucks because you lose troops, you lose money, you lose weapons. If you're the Russians, think you succeed. Thank you, Adventures. But there's a big question as to how much Putin cares. One of the things that fascinates me about Russia, and again, I think from the Russia experts, I've still never gotten a clear answer on this, is we're often told about how Putin does whatever he wants, right? And Putin will, he's going to keep fighting. He doesn't care if he loses troops. He doesn't care how many men, they've had 700,000 or more casualties. They don't care. But at the same time, we're told Putin does not want a nationwide draft because he's worried about a backlash from the population, right? And so it's this weird trade-off of we think the Russians can just keep going in this war and that the casualties won't stop them, the money, the impact on their economy won't stop them. But then we also hear how much about Putin is still worried about domestic politics at home. So I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. The oil experts. So this was good news. This we had heard about. Actually, this we had heard about the other day, but we got more details from Bloomberg. Oil exports through a major Russian port appear to have halted This was because of a Ukrainian drone attack on the oil facility. Bloomberg News cited a person with knowledge of the deliveries as saying that oil flows at Ust-Luga fell to zero on Wednesday of this week. Now, that's great. It's a hugely important Russian port for oil deliveries. The Ukrainians are going after it, as I mentioned the other day. Russia is I don't want to say an oil superpower, but Russia's economy is far too dependent on energy. They have oil and natural gas. That's what they've got. They don't have a lot else. I mean, 40% of Russia's federal budget comes from oil and gas sales. I mean, 40% of the entire money that the government has to spend comes from oil and gas sales. So they're uniquely dependent on that. The Ukrainians have been hitting oil and gas, but they've been hitting it really hard in the last few weeks. And I think it's because knowing that negotiations are coming up, they're trying to hit them as hard as they can. And the Russians are frankly doing the same thing to the Ukrainians. They're hitting them very hard as well. Anyway, so that's good news. Also, an oil refinery in Russia's southern Volgograd region caught fire overnight following a drone attack. Hungary's Viktor Orban, who is an autocrat, friend of Trump, not a friend of Europe, not a friend of, he basically loves Putin, big fan of Russia, big fan of Putin. He's very autocratic, not very democratic, and big friend of Trump, though. Very anti-Ukraine, pro-Putin. He is saying that he's not going to approve the next round of sanctions against Russia unless Ukraine starts allowing Russian gas to flow through Ukraine. Now, interesting this, thank you, Brittany, because I'm kind of sympathetic to the Ukrainians on this. Before the war, the Ukrainians were letting the Russians pass through Ukraine on a pipeline to ship gas to Europe, stuff like this, right? Okay, fair enough. But they would pay the Ukrainians. Well, once Russia, thank you, Peony, thank you, Gilly, once Russia invaded Ukraine and tried to wipe out Ukraine, which is what Russia's trying to do. They're trying to subsume, basically take Ukraine and make it part of Russia. Once the Russians started doing that, the Ukrainians were like, well, we don't want to keep, why are we letting Russian gas go through our country to Europe when Russia's using this money to basically fight against our soldiers in Ukraine? So Ukraine finally cut them off. And people got upset. The Russians are upset. And the Hungarians are upset. So he's now threatening not to continue the sanctions. Having said that, the problem for Orban in Hungary is every week he has a new reason why he's threatening not to approve the next round of sanctions. He's always threatening not to approve the next round of sanctions. Thank you, Rune. So I think that kind of hurts his threat a little bit, because it's kind of like, yeah, we knew you were going to oppose them anyway. Any case. What else we got? Okay, this was interesting. This was a longer story in Sky News. It came via the Institute for the Study of War. Institute for the Study of War is a very good think tank here in Washington, D.C. And there was a Russian interviewed by the state news service TASS. The Russians, Fyodor Lukyanov, research director with the Valday Discussion Club, an international forum where Russian and foreign officials and scholars meet. Basically, he's close to Putin, well connected with the Kremlin. This guy speaks, he's probably speaking on behalf of the Kremlin, okay? And he talked about what negotiations might look like with Ukraine, what Trump's involvement might be. So basically, he's giving us a sense of the Russian government position on Trump and Ukraine. Very condescending, supercilious, one might even say, very condescending what they were saying about Trump. I'm fascinated by this because, Trump has a history of being very conciliatory to Putin. At the same time, he's made some threats to Russia as well about sanctions if Russia doesn't, agree to negotiate with Ukraine. So Trump, I feel like Trump is in an interesting territory about being traditionally very pro-Putin, but at the same time feeling like he's this is because I think basically I think part of a big problem for Trump is he doesn't care what happens in Ukraine. He doesn't care if Russia wins. And he may even want Russia to win because he tends to be pro-Putin. Trump is worried that Ukraine crumbling under his watch, that the Russians taking over Ukraine and wiping it out, will be Trump's Afghanistan. That it will be like what happened to Biden with Afghanistan, right? That the withdrawal went so poorly and the country got taken over by the bad guys, the Taliban. And that the same thing, that the Russians take over Ukraine and it becomes Donald Trump who lost Ukraine, right? I think that's what's going on with Trump as to why he's being kind of in the middle, which is good, frankly. As you know, I'm glad he's in the middle. I'm glad he's not being pro-Putin. But listen to this. So this is from a Putin ally talking about the negotiations with Ukraine and talking about sort of his take on Trump and all of this. Listen to this. Lukyanov, one second. Okay, I'm summarizing this. He said that the main issue for the Russians is NATO expansion. Russia is going to keep the land it already stole from Ukraine, not negotiable. They're going to keep it. NATO expansion is their big issue, and they're going to try to limit NATO troops, whether it's NATO troop deployments in Europe or whether it's the number of NATO troops in Europe, meaning European countries have to decrease the size of their military. I mean, crazy stuff that the Russians are demanding here. Also, they're upset, and this one cracks me up. The Russians are upset that following the fall of the Soviet Union, NATO expanded and got bigger. Let's talk about why NATO got bigger when the Soviet Union fell. The Soviet Union was a country that had Russia at its core. The Russian Revolution formed the Soviet Union, 1917. Brutal communist dictatorship. I visited there. It was a brutal, brutal, brutal dictatorship. In addition to brutalizing their own people, the Russians brutalized 14 other countries as part of the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union was 15 countries. Well, 15 countries got eaten like in an amoeba, right? The amoeba like ate its food. These 15 countries were part of the Soviet Union. The Russians pretty much ran it, pretty much. Some of the countries that were part of the Soviet Union were Ukraine. And again, Ukraine was not an equal. The Baltic states, very much not an equal. Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia. Many of these countries, if not all of them, wanted to be free. The Russians would not let them. In addition, the Russians also, the Soviets, occupied half of Europe. After World War II, the Russians took half of Europe hostage. 10, I always forget how many countries were in the Eastern Bloc, but it was countries like they cut Germany in half, and a third of Germany was turned into a communist country called East Germany. Czechoslovakia was one country back then, communist Czechoslovakia dictatorship. Romania, Hungary, Poland, Bulgaria, all turned into communist dictatorships. Brutal. Some of these like Romania and East Germany, brutal. I mean, they were all bad, but brutal dictatorships there. All installed by the Russians, all kept in power by the Russians. The Hungarians, for example, and the Czechs tried to overthrow, basically become free from the communist dictatorships, and the Russians sent in tanks and just killed everybody. It was horrible. I mean, horrible part of history. 1989 comes, and we've now had 45 years of the Russians occupying Eastern Europe in brutal dictatorships. You've had, at this point, 1917 to 1989, 1991 of the Soviet Union brutalizing its own people in a communist dictatorship, okay? 1989 comes. The Soviets are not doing well. They're losing the Cold War. They can no longer afford to keep up with America, with the arms race, with the military arms race, because their economy just isn't good. Our economy is very big and very strong. Gorbachev basically allows Eastern Europe to go free. The Eastern European countries in a historic, thank you, JPT, historic, I mean, I lived through it. It was amazing to see as an American. These countries literally left communist dictatorships and became free democracies. Absolutely beautiful thing to see. 2 years later, the Soviet Union itself falls apart. They can't hold together anymore. So all of the countries basically being held hostage by the Soviets also become free. Ukraine becomes free. Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, Georgia, Azerbaijan, all of these guys become Armenia. They all become free countries now because the Soviet Union no longer exists. The Russians, not very happy about that. The Russians were the big power. They controlled Europe. They controlled half of Europe. They controlled 14 other countries as part of the Soviet Union. They didn't like that they lost that after the Soviet Union fell apart. Okay, that takes us to 1991. So 1989, Eastern Europe finally becomes free from the Russian-imposed dictatorships. Okay, 1991, 2 years later, 14 other countries become free from the Russian dictatorship as part of the Soviet Union, including Ukraine, the Baltic states, Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia. These countries have been occupied for at least 45 years, some of them longer, okay? At least 45 years. They've been occupied by the Russians and have had communist dictatorship, brutal, murderous dictatorship imposed on them, okay? So something, I mean, literally something out of 1984 in terms of, that book, right? I've been there. It was that kind of thing. What do you think these countries in Europe did when they broke free of the Russian dictatorships, when they finally became free? What do you think Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia did? What do you think Ukraine did when they finally broke free of the Russian dictatorships, right? They came to NATO and said, please protect us from the people who were oppressing us for 50 years. They begged NATO to join NATO. We did not ask them to join NATO. They begged NATO in the way that you would go to the police and beg for help after you escaped from the kidnapper. Okay. That's why NATO expanded after the Soviet Union fell, because the countries that were being held hostage by the Russians in Eastern Europe and being held hostage by the Russians, like the Latvians, Lithuanians, and Estonians, begged us to protect them from the Russians because they just had 45 years of dictatorship. Okay. It's an important point, and it takes us to where we are with Ukraine today. That's what the Russians are now saying. They're upset that NATO got bigger with their hostages. They're upset that the people they were holding captive for 50 years ran to NATO for help and protection. Well, who is to blame for that? Is NATO to blame for that? Right? Are the police to blame when the hostage comes and says, please protect me from the guy who kidnapped me? I mean, and literally, this isn't even controversial, what I'm telling you. I mean, I am literally giving you a simple recitation of the history of Eastern Europe and World War II. I mean, it's not even controversial. There isn't even, other historians say, no. Literally, brutal dictatorships in Europe, and they finally became free, and they begged us to protect them. Thank you, Tom. Yeah. And there you go. So that's what the Russians are upset about. That's what the Russians want to dismantle. The problem is Trump is not very pro-NATO, as you know. So, Trump had threatened to leave NATO before. It's complicated with Trump and NATO. So we just don't know. In any case, what country are you in, Laura? Are you in Hungary? She said, we're not. I don't mean to laugh, but I mean, she said, we're not free now. It depends what country you're. I don't know from your flag. I don't know the European flag, the Eastern European flags as well. Oh, Romania. Well, Romania is getting kind of scary now. Yeah, Romania is getting really scary. I talked about that the other day. Romania has a presidential election coming up with a guy who's a far-right nut job, and he's now like top in the polls. Very scary stuff. Well, annulled voting, but the poll the other day showed he had like 37% of the vote. The next person up had maybe 21, and the third one had 18%. Horrible. Now, mind you, the good news is, I don't want to get too much into the details, but the good news for Romania is they have a runoff election. So meaning, even though the far right crazy guy could get 36% of the vote or 37, whatever, if nobody gets 50%, then you have to have another election of the top two people. And that means everybody else, right? I love when it does that. My iPhone does that for you. My iPhone was throwing these balloons on the screen over on YouTube and Discord. That means that the 37% support this guy, but maybe the 63% in the runoff go, forget it. We're not supporting this guy, right? We can hope. Very scary stuff. Anyway, actually, you know what? I've still got some more Ukraine news. Let me do a little bit more. We've been going long today. there's a lot of news. You know what it is? I was doing a lot of explanations and stuff too. But I like to explain my European history. Yes, I know there's the Philly plane crash. I will look it up in a second and see what's going on with that. Let me see here really quick. Okay, I want to tell you really quick though. We were talking about the Russian official talking today about what he thinks the Russian strategy is going to be vis-a-vis Trump. This is from Institute for the Study of War, analyzing the Russian official. The Russian official's statements assume that Trump and his administration are weak. This is what's interesting. The Russians are putting out the message that they think Trump is weak and more susceptible to being intimidated by the Kremlin's show of force than the Biden administration. So what the message the Russian official put out today was that he thinks Trump is weaker than Biden and more intimidated than Biden by Russia's show of force. Now, I don't know whether that's true or not. I am critical of Trump. I don't think Trump is intimidated by Russia. I think Trump wants Russia. He wants Putin to be his friend. I don't think he's intimidated. I think Biden was intimidated. I think Biden actually was the one where the Russian show of force scared him. I don't know if the Russian show of force scares Trump. I will say this. Trump, unfortunately, and his people mentioned World War III too many times. They even more than Biden did about, the war in Ukraine Biden was going to cause World War III, this kind of stuff. And I think the Russians took it as being, look how afraid the Trump people are of us. Right, of us, the Russians. I think that's how they took it, but I don't know. That seems kind of weird. Finally, there was another communications cable cut this week in. I'm trying to think. Was this Norway and Finland, or Finland and Sweden? I'm forgetting which countries this was this time. And the Russians appear to be involved again. 2 boats have now been grabbed by the Norwegians. There was a boat grabbed earlier this week. And now there was another boat. This one's interesting. A Norwegian ship with an all-Russian crew. I mean, they just confiscated a Norwegian ship with an all-Russian crew. Little weird. So we'll see what's up with that. All right, let me pull up. Thank you, Mr. Lawrence. Let me pull up the for the Galaxy. That was a very generous gift and a very nice. And I also like those because I like I like my dinosaurs and I like my science and space and that kind of stuff. If they had Star Trek gifts, I would be all over it. Let me go. Philadelphia. Let me see what the latest news is on this plane crash that everyone is talking about in Philadelphia. Not the Eagles, no. All right. I'm just trying to pull up the latest here. This is apparent. No, that's a Houston. I'm not going to care what Houston is saying. Plane crash in Northeast Philadelphia leaves multiple houses on fire, causes explosion. Emergency crews are responding to an explosion in northeastern Philadelphia after a small plane crashed in the area of Roosevelt Boulevard and Cotman Avenue. Philadelphia police confirmed 2 people were aboard the plane. There are other injuries on the ground. Multiple homes are on fire. It is unclear anything else. So I don't know if we have anything else. I don't know that there's any more updates, guys. That's what I'm seeing here. Let me see. Yeah, I'm not seeing any more updates on it. So we don't know. That's all we got. All right. That is it for the news. This is the part of the show we hang out, we talk. I'm happy to talk about any of these topics. Russia, Ukraine, Trump, American politics, international politics. I don't always know everything about international politics, but happy to try if I know the topic or your guys' opinion on this stuff. Feel free, questions, comments. Just to give us some hope, do you really think we'll have to endure Trump for 4 years? Eli from Canada says, yes, I think you should expect it. The only way you're not going to endure Trump for 2 years is if for some reason he steps down and JD Vance takes over, health reasons or whatever. That's it. He's not going to get impeached because the Republicans control Congress, so they're not going to remove him. Yes, Trump is going to be in power for 4 years. The Congo, I'm not really up on the Congo. I know there's a little war going on between who is it? I don't even remember who it's. One neighbor invaded the other, and it's kind of a mess, but I'm really not up on it. Africa was never my forte, to be honest. I was always much more of I've been to Africa several times, but I was always much more of a Latin American expert in terms of that and Soviet. The Soviet Europe thing was always my area of focus too. We don't know how quickly prices will go up under tariffs. The tariff thing, okay. What Julian's asking about, Trump has announced that tomorrow he is imposing his first round of tariffs on China, Mexico, and Canada. We've got to see what he is applying them to first. What goods is he applying them to? What goods isn't he applying them to? We've got to see what the Canadians, the Chinese, and the Mexicans do in response. They will certainly hit us with an equal number of tariffs on what goods. We've got to see what that, for example, as I mentioned, the impact can be American companies may raise the prices of the goods coming into America. They could try to eat the price increase. A tariff is literally a tax on the goods coming into your country. I have had tariffs on things that I've sent you. I actually have to get more auction items going. We auction stuff occasionally on my Discord, cool stuff from Ukraine. And some of the Europeans have had to pay tariffs when they receive the auction item from me. Their government says, aha, there's a tax on this item. We tax these items for whatever reason, right? Thank you, Norway Fox. And that person, to receive the item I send them at the post office, has to pay the tax to the post office. That's how it's an import tax. It's like a tariff in essence. That's what tariffs are. Tariffs are taxes. So what happens is, and I'll explain it again because I think it's people ask enough about what tariffs are that I think it's important to explain. I, as an American, decide to buy products in America that come from China, whatever. Sometimes I buy them from China, right? Sometimes I go on Temu or whatever those websites are, and like the Amazon of China, and you can buy stuff. But usually I go to my local store, the Walmart, the Jewel, whatever it is, and I buy a product that just happens to be made abroad. But Walmart or Costco or whoever either bought the product from a Chinese company, or they bought it from another American company that's a middleman that buys these products. But some American company at some point bought these products from China. Okay, when that product comes into the United States, the American company has to pay for the product. But now with the tariff, it's got to pay an extra tax to the U.S. government. So when that American company brings in cars from Mexico or iPhones from China, for example, it's now got to pay for the iPhones coming in from China, the American company that wants to sell them to me, but they've also got to pay an extra 10% because that's the tariff that Trump is putting. Or a car coming in from Mexico, if the tariff applies to cars. The American car manufacturer brings the car in from Mexico, or maybe even buys it, I don't know. There's now a 25% extra charge that might be on that car that they've got to pay. It's a tax, and it's a tax they pay that the American company pays to the U.S. government. Okay, you're the American company. You're bringing in cars, or you're bringing in iPhones, or you're bringing in refrigerators to sell to Americans. Those products just became 25% more expensive because there's now a 25% tax you have to pay the U.S. government on those products. You're now not making as much money, right? I was going to make a certain amount of money. Now I'm making less because I'm paying a tax. The question then becomes, as the American company, do I pass that tax on to you, or do I just eat it and take it out of my profits? If I take it out of my profits, then I've got to figure out how to save more money because I'm an American company. I can't afford to lose 25%, right? I'm going to start to cut employees, right? I'm going to start to find other ways. I'm going to start to cut salaries. Cut wage increases, cut bonuses, right? So you can hurt employees that way. The second way is passing the price on to consumers. Thank you, Nicola. And typically, it's a mix. The companies may not raise prices 25% because they're afraid you won't buy anything, but will they raise prices 10%? Well, hell, if you're an egg manufacturer, you just double and triple the price, right? I mean, the people selling eggs in this country don't care what they charge. They'll charge anything to us, right? So some goods, literally eggs just doubled and tripled or quadrupled in price. And during COVID, it was even worse here in Washington, at least. And they didn't care. So some goods, they will increase the price multiple times. We just don't know. It depends on the company. It depends what goods Trump is actually doing this to. And then it depends on the company whether they want to pass the price to us or not. And if they don't pass the price to us, the increase, they may cut back on employees, which is bad. So It's scary. So it's an inflation risk. It's a very large inflation risk. It's also a risk to the economy. The final point here with tariffs is other countries absolutely will retaliate. Canada, China, and Mexico will increase tariffs, will increase taxes on American goods. Thank you, Lainey. And when they do that, we are probably going to be able to sell fewer of our goods in their countries. And what does that mean? If our goods become too expensive in Canada and Mexico and China, fewer people in Canada, Mexico, and China buy our goods. Right? If they don't buy our goods, our companies don't make as much money. If our companies don't make as much money, what do? They lay off their employees. So it's bad across the board. It's bad across the board. Oh, I should have mentioned tonight, our moderator Callum just had a baby girl. Callum the Scot. I was going to mention to everybody, they had a baby girl today, he and his wife Angelica. So very sweet. The girl is doing fine. I didn't ask how big she is because, as I told him, I'm a guy. I don't care how much your daughter weighs. But yeah, so I will say the best part was she went into labor this morning and had the baby 3 hours later, which I don't know much about babies, but I do know 3 hours of labor is crazy good. I mean, anybody who's had babies, typically they seem to go longer from what I hear, but 3 hours, that was it. I was like, dude, everything I've heard, that's an amazing, you got very lucky. So anyway, yeah, so that was it. So Callum, I doubt he's here tonight or he's going to be in trouble. He said, I'm probably not going to be joining you all tonight. So 34 minutes. Oh my God. Oh, that's hilarious. I never knew it could be that quick. You always hear about the bad ones. You know what I mean? I don't know how long my mom's was. I don't think it was terrible, but Paula says 45 minutes. Oh, you had a C-section. That's different though. Yeah, that's different. Oh, I know people like they can go a day or two or whatever. Crazy stuff. Oh, you're here. You are here. Oh, you're crazy. You know what's funny? I saw somebody write to somebody, Angelica, and say another one, and I thought, is that you? I love that. Angelica is Gel. So you guys can give her your congratulations here on TikTok directly. I didn't know you were here. You're so fun. I love that you had a baby and you're here like hanging out with us on TikTok. You're crazy. That's why. Well, I guess you can tell people how big the baby was because I know some people care about those things. So feel free to tell people the size of the baby. I do know it was a girl. Oh, it's Callum. Okay. Callum is here in Angelica's account. I see. Okay. Then you probably don't know the size of the baby. That's funny. The baby's name is Isla, I believe, which is Iceland. I was going to say is island in Spanish. I don't even. And what last name is the baby going to have? Are you guys hyphenating, or what have you decided to do with baby names and stuff? There's an interesting question. What is your last name? Or maybe you shouldn't tell people your last name. I wouldn't tell people your last name on here. Don't do that. Probably not a good idea. Yeah, don't tell people your last name. I always forget your last name anyway. Isla is island in Spanish. Correct. Yeah, don't give out your last name. Don't do that. Thanks, KT. Anyway, so yes, we were very excited for Callum. So yay, little baby girl. So could Canada theoretically join the EU? I don't know. Isla. I don't know whether. Oh, pronounced Isla. Oh, okay, but you're spelling it Isla, dude. You understand? For the rest of this girl's life, people are going to be calling her Isla. Okay, as long as you realize that it's pronounced Isla. All right. I'm calling her Isla. I was trying to figure out why they called her Isla. I'm like, it's a Scottish name? Get out of here. It's a Scottish name? I assumed it's because his wife is Latino. Get out of here. It's Gaelic? Okay, I'm laughing. He told me the name was Isla, Isla, and I'm totally thinking it's because his wife is Latino. And I'm going, well, that's nice. They gave it a Latino name, but I speak Spanish. And I'm going, calling her Island is a little weird, but if they want to call her Island, that's fine. I certainly wasn't going to tell you I thought it was weird. It's a Gaelic name. Okay, that's just making me laugh now. It's Gaelic. I totally thought you were giving a Spanish name island. Oh God, that's funny. Water well in Georgian. Oh, that's funny. I'm surprised it has all these meanings. Isla. I like Isla. People are going to call her Isla. Isla? Is Isla here? Oh man. Isla Bonita. I know. I'm laughing. That just cracks me up. I'm like getting hot now. I'm laughing too much. Oh my God. Yes, yes, yes. We all saw the plane crash in Philadelphia. There's really no other news on it though. I Googled and there's really there are no updates about it. Kind of scary though. Um anyway. All right. All right. So what else is going on, guys? Yes. So back to the news. Anyway. All right. T-Mobile internet I had to get rid of. It wasn't working well enough. And I got to tell you, it got resolved, but God, the customer service with T-Mobile is the worst I've ever experienced in my life. I finally had to go to the corporate communications people and they were amazing and fixed it, but the T-Mobile people lied to me. They just lied to me about my phone and my internet. Both of them, they told me my trade-in value of the phone, they lied. The cost of my internet, they lied. I mean, they just lied. On the cost of the internet, two different people lied to me at T-Mobile. And of course, I'm a reporter. I take notes on everything. Also because Verizon, I should say Xfinity used to do this too. Comcast, twice to me and once to my mother, Comcast, told us what the plan was and changed. So I take perfect notes. Two different T-Mobile employees told me the cost of my internet plan. It was actually $10 more. Two different employees. The person I bought my phone from told me my trade-in value was $200 more than it actually was. I got a manager on the phone. They won't let you talk to managers. When you try to talk to a manager at T-Mobile, they really will not let you talk to managers. Twice now, because I've had 2 weeks ago, I had a problem with T-Mobile. I finally was like, you won't give me the manager? And he said, okay. But I'm going to, two different T-Mobile employees, 2 weeks apart. I'll give you the manager, but I'm going to tell you right now, the manager is not going to help you. In my life, I have never been told preemptively that a manager was not going to help me. I mean, twice now, which means it's a talking point at T-Mobile. I'm really pissed about this, to be honest, because clearly that's a T-Mobile talking point. If people ask for the manager, tell them the manager won't help. Both managers, 2 weeks apart, were the rudest, most arrogant people I have ever dealt with in my life in customer service. They did not help me. They refused to resolve. I mean, they refused to resolve the issue. This time around, I'm like, you literally quoted me the wrong price on my phone and the wrong price on my internet. And you're not going to honor either one. Sir, we're within the 2-week period. You are free to cancel your contract if you want. And I went, are you kidding me? You guys fraudulently sold me two different plans. You lied about both of them and you're not going to honor the contract. So 2 hours of this. I got on the internet. I got on Twitter. I contacted the corporate communications people. They fixed it in 10 minutes. 10 minutes, they fixed it. I was livid with them. I was livid. And I told her, I said, they're refusing to fix it. Will you please call me? She called me. I told her what happened. And she goes, that's ridiculous. Obviously, we're going to honor it. I mean, so yeah, that was my T-Mobile experience. I mean, I got to tell you, I'm a new T-Mobile customer. I am not impressed. I have never had as rude of customer service in my life as I had with T-Mobile. Ever have I had them be that rude and have managers be that rude in my freaking life. I've never had that. And they lied to me about my phone and my internet plan. Thank you, Eddie. Both plans, they lied to me about the price. I mean, man. Oh, God. I mean, and the thing is, it was a total fraud thing, too. Because like on the phone thing, well, sir, we can give you the trade-in value if you up your phone plan to the next expensive plan. I'm like, no, that's called bait and switch. Nice try. Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's fine. In the future, I'll deal with the people on TikTok. I mean, on the Twitter people, the corporate communications people. But I mean, my God, I was told they merged with who was it? Sprint or something, and the Sprint customer service was supposed to be terrible or something. I in my life, I've never had this happen. I mean, Verizon, I should say, Verizon was my cell phone. They were fine. They just ripped me off. The prices were way too much. But they never tried to cheat me. They just Verizon. The thing is, Verizon and Comcast, they cheat you openly. Comcast just raises your bill every year. You know what I mean? My mom's bill went from like 140 to 280 over like 4 years. They just raise it every year, and it's very open, right? Comcast just screws you publicly. And Verizon too. Verizon, they just charge you ridiculous amounts for your phone, and at least it's public. Whereas, anyway, oh my God, Attorney General letter, email, yeah, UN. So I'm not doing a UN story, that's for sure. So, anyway, so yes, the T-Mobile internet did not work good enough for me. Unfortunately, did not work well enough. I am back to using my Comcast. Hopefully now his YouTube, actually TikTok too. I assume the connection's been fine today. Actually, TikTok has been pretty good no matter what. YouTube, I've been a little worried because YouTube, the connection has been very bad the last several days. So hoping it's good, but TikTok is great. Okay. And YouTube never got pixelated earlier, I'm hoping. Mostly good quality. Okay. Because yesterday was a little hinky on YouTube, even though I was using my good internet yesterday. Anyway, so yes, you shouldn't have asked about now T-Mobile is going to be my new UN story. No, they lied to me. I'm just sorry, but that had to be intentional. Two different, both, they lied to me about my phone plan and my internet plan. That had to be intentional. Yeah, unfortunately. And if there's a problem, they won't fix it unless you go on Twitter and cause a stink. And again, the corporate communications people were amazing. That woman fixed it in 10 minutes. And I wrote her a nice note because I hope she saves the note and shows it to the bosses. I was like, you are a public, or what's the word I'm looking for? Not corporate communications, but the public service or whatever. I'm like, you are like a clear professional in working with the public. You understand how to do it, and you understand how to treat people right and to fix things. Those other people clearly did not. Man, oh my God. No, it was just Peter. I'm telling you. Customer service. That's the word I was looking for. Yeah. Just, oh my God. But I hate it though. I hate that kind of stuff. I hate having to fight with companies and stuff because typically I win, but I always tell people it's like playing a computer game. I feel like my life force gets decreased 20% having to do it. Thank you, Joshua. There's no news on the plane crash. There's been no news on it, really. I looked it up. There was a small plane crashed in Philly. I will look at my Twitter following because that often has good numbers of people as well. But there was no real news on it. It was just a small plane crashed in Philadelphia. But, I'm looking right now. Well, Twitter's bad because Elon corrupted Twitter. Okay, here's a little bit more from Ali, who's very good. Ali Alexander. Crashed aircraft confirmed to be a jet rescue air ambulance Learjet. Ooh, it's an air ambulance. Yikes. Oh, that's too bad. Wow. All right, that's bad. Yep, jet rescue air ambulance Learjet. Wow. Okay, well, that's what they know. So, that's very bad, but it looks to be, an air accident, an air ambulance. Yeah. God, thank you, Bubbly. Also, thank you, Melissa, for the bubblegum. Also, God, you hope to God nobody was on the plane. Imagine you got rescued in the air ambulance and the air ambulance then crashes. My God, if you have Comcast internet, you can get Xfinity Mobile. Yeah, I'm just over Xfinity at this point. I just wasn't in the mood. I just, the internet. My internet plan is okay. It's not cheap. I bought the modem. It's cheaper. It's going to go up in 2 years. I feel like Xfinity, I don't trust Xfinity to be a phone plan, to be honest. I just feel like Xfinity having the internet, and they actually, it's perhaps not a good thing, but I feel like having been an Xfinity Comcast customer for so long with the internet, they play so many games with the fees and increasing the price on you that I don't trust them anymore. I feel like if I use them for my phone, they're going to screw me. My phone bill is going to double in 3 years, and there's not going to be anything I can do about it. You know? So yeah, I'm glad people like it. Maybe the next phone in 2 years, I'll consider it. My nephew has them and likes them. I just honestly, I have a bad taste in my mouth with Comcast and Xfinity right now, having the cable bill be so expensive. I just was like, I want to get away from them. That's also why I wanted to go to T-Mobile for my internet. I was just like, ugh, it's that cheap. Well, I'll check it out next time. I'll check it out next time. I mean, my phone, yeah. I mean, I'm paying $60 for my phone plan, which is not cheap, but it's not terrible. It's unlimited. Not that I need unlimited, but it's not, it's not terrible. I mean, the phone plan itself is $60, not counting buying a new phone and all that kind of stuff. It's not cheap, but it's not horrible. You know what I mean? It does work pretty well. It's working pretty well. EE, I don't know what EE is, so I'm not sure. US Cellular. I mean, Consumer Cellular got good reviews. The other one, Cricket, got good reviews, I think. But I was just like, I think also Xfinity Mobile, I just wasn't sure what the deal was, like whether I should trust them. Also, I think they weren't offering, I don't know if they were offering as good a deal. T-Mobile's phone deal wasn't as good as I thought it was. I mean, T-Mobile claimed they were offering me a great trade-in value on my phone. Again, I can always switch next time. I have no problem switching. 120 a month for 2 phones. Okay. I mean, I'm paying $60 a month anyway for one phone, but then I'm paying extra for the phone. You know what I mean? Yeah, my T-Mobile internet, I'm using the 5G one. It just didn't work well enough. When it worked, it was amazing speed, but for you guys doing the lives, it was glitchy. So there's no way I could do it, unfortunately. Yeah, I think I told you guys, I actually pulled the plug on my cable. I use YouTube TV now. It's to die for. I was paying $270 a month. Or $275 or whatever. Now I'm paying $82 for YouTube TV and $65 for my Comcast internet. So that's $147 instead of $270. So I'm saving a good $120 plus $125 a month. YouTube TV is to die for. My quality is incredible. Google it because I was worried. I was telling my nephews, I said, yeah, but I need CNN. CNN's included. Get out of here. But I like sci-fi. Sci-fi, I think, is included too. Also, what I realized, thank you, Jim, what I realized over the last many years, I don't know about you guys, but I don't watch that much TV. I watch CNN because I do politics or whatever. If you're a Fox News person, whatever it is. But if you're a news person, you watch your news channel all day, right? So I watch CNN all day. And then at night, I watch Netflix. I watch Amazon Video. That's what I watch. So, and I already get Netflix through Damien. At Amazon Video, I get because I've got Prime anyway. So it's great. The quality is to die for. The one thing I will warn you, and honestly, YouTube TV needs to fix this. The first time I tried it out, it was terrible because I made a mistake. YouTube TV for example, they have an app for CNN. I used the CNN app. It was horrible. The quality was horrible. And I thought, I can't watch this. I don't know why, but the CNN app on YouTube TV is a piece of crap. YouTube TV also just has CNN. They have their own channel lineup. It makes no sense to me why they have an app as well. They do. The app doesn't work. If you use the app, you're going to say the quality is horrible. When you just go to their channel lineup, the quality is great. Some channels are better than others, but overall, it's great. No, I am so happy with it. It's not even funny. And again, saving so much money. Yeah, Sling TV. I've never tried Sling TV. I'd consider it, but my nephews are using YouTube and they like it. And then I got it for my mom and we liked it. So I was like, all right. I mean, I'm not going to look at Sling now. Maybe someday. I literally just started using YouTube TV. I feel like, I don't want to. Ingrid, don't tell me the sound is glitching. Oh my God, on YouTube. Tell me it's not. Anyway, Sling is boring. But no, I've been ecstatic, absolutely ecstatic you think Canada will cut off energy to the U.S. because of the tariffs? It'd be fun if they did. They may not, though, because it may be a little too much to do. It may be a little too much for them to do. Meaning that's like too rude. Kitty asks, am I discussing canceling Black History Month? What do you mean? What do you mean? What's up with that? Wait, okay, dog wants a little water. I'm going to get the dog water and then tell me what you're talking about. It is Black History Month this month. So what do you mean? What do you mean canceling Black History Month? What's that about? I mean, Trump like canceled Black history in the Air Force, but then we got that fixed because everybody raised such a stink that he was forced to put it back. The sound is crackling. You know what's interesting? That's been something weird has been. Oh God, that's a whole other issue. On YouTube, my sound is on YouTube. That makes no sense because that's coming from my phone. That makes no sense that the sound's crackling. That's not even my microphone. That's this. I mean, if I do this, does it crackle? If I move the phone, for example, I'm trying to figure out like what would be crackling on my phone. Like, is it doing it when I move this or? So let's like not move anything and see. No difference with it moving. I have no idea. It's literally my phone. It's literally my phone. Now, the only thing is what I'm wondering, hold on, I'm going to lift this up. Let's try that. I'm trying to sort of not have the phone touch the computer. YouTube, or TikTok, you're okay because you're on this mic. For YouTube, I'm going to have to try my other mic again. A minute ago. Okay, that's fine then. I'm going to have to try my other mic because this mic for Discord is still, actually the Discord folks left us, I think. For Discord, I'm using it. For YouTube, this mic stopped working at one point, so I haven't tried it again. That's interesting. What you doing, Sasha? What are you doing? Come on, cut it out. She's begging again. I don't know. Sasha. Oh, you mean the Trump people canceled? Is that what you mean? I'm having like a deja vu here. I'm having total deja vu here. It could be a phone issue. I don't know. Every other word. I mean, it's possible that the phone thing is somehow. Sasha, cut it out. Stop. She's begging. She wants me to do her teeth and give her treat. Yeah, you know what? Tomorrow, guys, we'll try. I'll try to go live maybe in the morning with my regular microphone for YouTube and see if it works. Yeah, it could be interference because it's sorry, don't want to bore everybody on TikTok, but for YouTube, I'm using the microphone on my phone. And I'm wondering if maybe there's interference or something, rebooted the phone. I can reboot the phone. Yeah, I'll do it after the show. Give it a try. Anyway, well, that's good. At least TikTok. Well, TikTok should sound good because it's my good microphone. It's my very good microphone. But on YouTube, we've been having some issues where my good microphone stopped working, so I have not been using it lately, but I will try it again tomorrow and see if we can, the screen glitched. Oh, God. Okay, then that means it's YouTube being funky again is what that means. If the screen glitched, then it's YouTube. Yeah, that's what's going on then. Yeah. Anyway, I am coming through the microphone. This microphone on YouTube, you'll know because you can tell when I do this, it gets softer and louder. You sure? I thought I selected that microphone on my phone. It is this microphone. Oh, funny. Oh, that's funny. Wow. I don't know then. I wonder if it's when I move this microphone, if that's what's causing it. Like when I do this. I'll have to stop doing this now. Although the weird part is that it's not doing it on TikTok, though. I'm using the same mic for TikTok. Weird. Okay, whatever. We'll stop boring people. Okay. No cack when I move the mic. Okay. I don't want to like bore people talking about this, but it's one of the things you have when you're a creator and all of this is trying to figure out your microphone and the technology and something isn't working and oh my God, Thank you, X. I'm going to call you X. I have no idea what to call you on TikTok. You've got a funny name. Thank you, Jeremy. Thank you, User336. But anything big? I mean, lots of bad Trump stuff today. If you consider that big, nope. Come here, you. I would say nothing. I mean, a lot of bad Trump stuff today, but nothing. We talked about the Philadelphia plane crash. No, it's an air ambulance apparently, which is very bad. But apparently it's an air ambulance. Correctly on my phone mic. I haven't changed the microphones though. It's been the same mic, the whole show on YouTube. It's been the same mic. I don't know how it's using this mic though. That makes this mic. I have no idea how it's doing that, but whatever. That does happen sometimes, Susie. Sorry about that. Well, it could have been an accident. Yeah. What's your other account? We can unmute you. Oh, that's probably why. That's why. Okay. Yeah. Because people were there was a ton of different people that kept saying Philly plane crash. And that's why I think the mods were like, make it go away, because it was sort of taking over the comments. That's why. Yeah. That's fine. Let them know what the account is and they'll unmute you. No offense intended. Oh, hey, Harvey. Everyone else disappeared. You're the only person on Discord right now. I am talking to everybody on TikTok and YouTube, though, but you could pretend it's just me and you on Discord if it feels more intimate. It's funny. Everyone disappeared on Discord and then Harvey showed up. I'm doing the Discord thing anyway. I don't know whether Discord matters, but I thought it's nice to stream it on Discord anyway, just to give people an option. Except Joshua, then it would be you and Harvey. Actually, it's already 7:30. I'm not going to go too much longer. So is your Discord open or for subs? Oh, Discord's open. I take subs and we do like the weekend show. Oh, Gunther's there too now to keep Harvey company. We do, I do a weekend show. Actually, this weekend is going to be tomorrow is the show for all paid subscribers. And then Sunday is the show for the $25 and up paid subscribers, which is only a handful of you, on Discord and YouTube. But yeah, I do a special show on the weekends, sometimes during the week too. I've got to start doing that again. We've got some auction items. I've got to put some new auctions up, and there's a special section for just the subscribers, some of the nicer items, just so they get a little bit of a benefit. But overall, the Discord's open to everybody. Yeah. The goal was to have it be open and then just hope people, if they want to contribute to support my work, to do it that way. So it is a nice show. The Saturday show is nice. It's a much sort of calmer scene, not as many people. We may get 70 to 150 people on TikTok, maybe 20 on YouTube versus the normal 150. That's fine. Everybody came to keep Harvey company. I love that. But anyway. Thank you, Love. I'm not going to pronounce your last name. TikTok may get upset about that, but thank you, Love. TikTok won't let you subscribe again either. Joshua, if you're an American, you can't. Are you American or no? If you're an American, you can't subscribe. You cannot subscribe via the phone. You have to go to the website. If you're not American, then you shouldn't have a problem, assuming your account wasn't set up in America. Diana, same goes for you. Americans are not able to set up their accounts on. Oh, the website wouldn't let you. The only thing with the website is if you're doing it on your phone, it still could be messy. But are you trying on the website via a computer? Are you guys trying via the computer on the website? That's a different question. You should try on a computer or an iPad and go to the website and see if that works. Through your phone, that may be why, though. The phone may be trying to take you to the Apple Store or God knows what. Try it on your laptop first, because I'd be curious, experiment why. Okay, so iPad, it's not. On the computer, it didn't let you sub. Okay, describe exactly what happens. I'm sorry, but are you saying that you hit the subscribe button and then what happened? Real life works. So you go to the website, you go to my page on TikTok on a computer, you hit the subscribe button, and what happens? I don't want to bore everybody here, but it's helpful feedback because I can let people know. It tells me I can't subscribe and talk to customer support. Thank you, Joseph, for becoming a paid subscriber on YouTube. Join us tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. Eastern. Interesting. I can't subscribe and talk to customer support. Interesting. So I'm like grabbing a screen cap of this. And you're an American and you did this on your computer. Computer told me I would auto renew, but TikTok on my phone says I'm expired in a few days. Except the phone can't auto renew. The phone can't auto renew. Also, TikTok is having some glitches I heard recently as well. Thank you, Anachronista. I have no idea. I have no idea. Wow. That's a bummer. I don't know. Yeah, we saw the Philadelphia news. It's an air ambulance apparently, which is very sad, but sounds like it's just an accident, but obviously very sad news. It has to be on a laptop or a desktop. Yeah, except that, like you said, you were having problem. Well, this is for the TikTok people. You can't use Apple Pay. No, you can't use anything with Apple. No. Well, I guess that's the question too. How are you paying? You're not using Apple Pay, are you? On your computer. You have to renew after the sub expires. Okay. I know. I do vet the mods, but it's just, you should have been unmuted now. If they got the account, I'm sure they unmuted you. 2 different credit cards. I don't know what that's about. Yeah. Thanks, Jamie. Yeah. We've got a lot of problems in America right now, sadly. Susan, I love that everybody's showing up in Discord now. This is very funny. Yeah, you were unmuted. You're unmuted now. Yeah. Musk trying to get access to, oh God. Well, there was some weird, I don't even know the details. Musk tried to get access to some U.S. Treasury payment system that's used to pay CIA agents like in super secret missions, and Elon's little children wanted to get access to it. And the Treasury people told them no. So of course they're trying to fire the Treasury people now. I mean, these guys are acting like a bunch of, I have to watch my language since we're on TikTok, but it's just crazy. I know it's okay, guys. Leave Susan alone. Susan, it's fine. We had a misunderstanding. People thought you were spamming. You weren't. You were trying to let me know. It's okay. Don't worry about it. What's wrong with Elon? But again, Trump is letting him. Trump is letting Elon, run with it. I mean, it's very scary stuff. Your federal job, I'd be very worried working for the federal government right now. They're going to destroy everything. It's very scary. Yeah. It's very scary. There are no checks and balances. What we found out was checks and balances in America are basically verbal agreements, right? That Congress just sort of agrees it will pay attention, and it will keep an eye on things unless it's their party, and then they don't, especially the Republicans. Will Westmoreland, I know of him because I remember being excited that he was like the grandson or something of the general or something like that, but I've not seen anything from him recently. I think I do follow him because I remember him being related. Yep. Tomorrow, Canada gets the 25% tariff, as does Mexico, and China gets 10%. I guess that's because we're better friends with we're better friends with Mexico and Canada. So we're hitting them with the worst tariff because why not anger your friends more? Right. I guess. And the Canadians will hit us as they should with the tariffs as well. Well, and one thing, I am going to hang up soon because we've been going over an hour and a half. One thing I'm going to need to keep doing soon. TikTok is changing the way they're doing the gifts and everything and what percentage we get. And I've got to make sure I ask you guys to follow me, and I need like 5 followers per show and all sorts of crazy stuff. So, So I will have to make sure, and mods, I guess maybe if you can make sure too. We just got to make sure to remind people occasionally to follow, which is not a bad idea, frankly. And thank you, Sel, for following right there. Because I don't ask enough, and I should. It's sort of I need to be more self-promotional on all of this stuff. But yeah, but I've seen Will Westmoreland before. I've got to Will. That's funny. Yeah, like I said, of the general. Thank you for the panda. We do love that panda, Flower Lady. It really is cute. Does it count if you unfollow and follow? I don't know. I would be careful. I don't want to get into trouble with that. Thank you, Ash. You never have to get me gifts, but thank you for the galaxy. Smoker, I'm certainly not one. I don't know if somebody else is. But anyway, yes. So definitely follow me if you would. All right, guys. I'm going to hang up because we've been doing this for an hour and 40 minutes, and I do like to watch my voice. Thank you, DJ, for following me as well on TikTok. So yes, tomorrow we've got our show for the paid subscribers on TikTok, 11 a.m. Eastern, YouTube, same time, Discord, same time. It's for everybody who's a monthly subscriber. And then Sunday is it's like the $24.99 and up thing. How do you join Discord? Discord, thank you, Balder. Discord is not the easiest. And thank you, Ravenol. I'm about to get my hair cut, actually. It's funny you say that. I literally was about to make the appointment because my hair is getting longer and it's just a pain. But being Greek, the longer my hair is, the more fun it is. But it's just a pain in the ass. So I'm very tempted to get it all cut off very soon. But I was like, all right, it's behaving the last few days, so I'm going to let it go. But I appreciate the compliment, but it drives me a little crazy. Curly hair can get like we were saying bonne soirée, merci Ali. My Discord. So Discord is not easy. It's free. It's kind of an old system, I think. So I think it's a little difficult. But basically go to my profile on TikTok, click the Linktree link. One of the links will say Discord, one of the top links. If you're on an iPhone, you have to press and hold the link down until a pop-up comes up that says accept invite. Accept the invite, and that will hopefully take you to Discord. My guess is you may need to download the Discord app first. It's free, so you might want to do that. It's asking for a code. Oh, no. That link seems to do this. Does anybody have a suggestion? What's the best way for somebody to get me? Can they just find me on Discord? You already got the app. It should not be asking you for the code from that link. Now, if you're using your phone, though, yeah, but you can't just click it. If you're using a phone, for example, you've got to click and hold the Discord link. You can't just click it or it won't work if you're using a phone. Once you see the Discord link, you have to click and hold it, and there will be a pop-up that says accept invite. If you just click the link with your phone, it's not going to work. Or like Ash just did, you can use the link that Ash just posted. As long as you can copy it correctly, you could just plug it into your phone's browser and try that too. Okay. I was going to say, you could also just, I assume you can Google. I don't know how Discord works this way. Do you need to have an invite? I don't think you can copy and paste from TikTok. Can you? I don't think so. Can you? I don't think you can copy a comment. Yeah. Sorry, mods, for caps. Any code, is the app asking you to log you in? Thank you, Eva. Just look up your name. Okay. Hold and copy on TikTok if it lets you. Gunther says you must get an invitation. I know, don't be mean, Gunther, but only because right now I'm dealing with like way too many tech glitches. Pomade says wanted a code too. Yeah. Join your XRP team. You're funny. Let's not go there. TikTok doesn't like those topics, so we can't talk. That's one we can't talk about. I hear you. I'm a big fan of what's his face in Canada. I can never pronounce his name. We follow each other on Twitter too. I love him. 24-year-old curly hair, the new wife. He's like the biggest promoter of that currency. Starts with an M. Oh my God, I'm forgetting his name. I like him though. He's very good. But I assume you know who he is if you follow that stuff. The invite link is fine. I just joined. It's Discord's two-factor authentication. Okay. 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 That's good to know. Okay. The problem is I think Discord is not the most user-friendly if you've never used it before. Like when I first used Discord to follow some other people, I found it very, very difficult. Mason is his name, like Mason Verlulius or whatever. He's a good guy. What do I think about Africa? I've been a few times. I liked it. I'm not sure. I mean, it's a big question. I especially liked Mali, which was wonderful, lovely people, wonderful country to visit. Now having a lot of problems. Thank you, Julian. All right, I don't want to like hang up while people are trying to figure out Discord. It's not mobile friendly and it's not user friendly either. That's the thing, son. I think Discord, I find on both accounts, when I first got there, I remember just jumping around going, I don't understand. And then you get used to it and you go, oh, it's simply little different discussion areas. That sort of makes sense. Well, Robert, long story. I'm back to using Comcast again. So the T-Mobile just wasn't good enough. And they lied to me, but that's a whole other story. All right. Good night, Inger. Thank you again for the gift. Appreciate that from Norway. Okay. Well, I mean, I am going to hang a minute because the TikTokers are trying to help each other get on Discord, which I appreciate you guys helping out. Because as soon as I leave, it'll close down. At least YouTube went a little bit last night. But I think it's also because even though I left YouTube, I left the screen open, and I think it may leave the live open when I do that. Yeah, I'll give you guys another minute on TikTok, and then we'll call it quits. But yeah, it's not easy to figure out. We almost need to I'm thinking of different ideas for different sessions on TikTok. Like we could have a TikTok. I don't know if they'd like it, but a TikTok session just for Discord. Like join my Discord. You know what I mean? Oh my God, the salmon, 75% off. Oh my God. My dog would be going crazy if she were sitting in a basket with salmon. That's really funny, Gunther. That's hilarious. Oh my God. That's funny. Discord is an app where you can create communities that are basically chat communities where you go in and you type to each other almost like this in a way. It's almost like an old bulletin board. You type, they type, we type, we sort of communicate, but you can also hold talks. Like I stream on Discord like this, so I can talk to people and they can, this kind of thing. It's all chat, but it can also be video too. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's like an old bulletin board in a way, but it actually you can set up topics. So you have many bulletin boards. Where did you get it? That's not Costco, is it? Gunther, where was that at? When I say here, I mean the US. Unless you guys are talking other people there. Amanda, I guess you're probably not talking to me. I'm talking about the US. Yep, we know about the plane crash in Philly. It was apparently an air ambulance, which is very sad, but hopefully not nothing bad like terrorism or anything. Myers. Yeah, I know of Meyer. Yeah. Yep. Costco is great. They don't have it over there. Did you see it over here, Harvey? We have several stores like that, but Costco is particularly amazing. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, hey, Evaristo. I did not see. Did you say something? I did not see earlier. If you did. You're in? Oh, it worked. I'm shocked. It's not easy. I mean, I hate to tell people that. Oh, you have Costco in the UK. Okay. I'm glad thank you guys for helping her get in. I was very afraid it wasn't going to work because usually I'm kind of like Discord. How do you explain Discord to people? They marked down the baked goods at 8 p.m. Oh, that's nice. Wow. Oh, that's nice. Wow. Well, I get delivery from Costco too. You pay more, but I don't have a car, so I don't often go to Costco. But the delivery, you can get food delivered, but you can also get stuff delivered. Actually, Costco will mail stuff. So if you're a member, even if you're not, I don't know if you're not a member, but you can get not food mailed. So all the other stuff can get mailed, which is not a bad thing. Yep, we heard about the plane crash, Ebriana. It's a air ambulance. Very sad, but not, doesn't look like it's intentional or anything. How to watch me on Discord? Well, I'm about to hang up, Jim, but you would go under events at the very top left, at the very top, look for events and click the events button, and you'll see, one of the events. I think even now, one of the events, it should show that I'm live right now. It'll show after party, daily show, go to channel, and that's how you would. That's where you would see me. Upcoming shows, things like that. Exactly. The DC crash was Obama. It was DEI and Obama's fault. Exactly. All right, guys. Actually, well, I'm going to hang up now though, because we've been going for an hour and 50 minutes. So I'm trying to protect my voice here. Yep, you might have to do a verification thing on Discord. All right, I am going to go, guys. Thank you for joining us. I will do my show tomorrow for the paid monthly subscribers, all the SNN people on TikTok, all the YouTube folks and Discord folks as well. The paid folks join us tomorrow morning. Otherwise, I will be back on Monday. Remember Sunday, Jens, anybody else who's here, the 24, I think you're one of them, the $24.99 and up people. We have our show on Sunday. It's usually just a few of us. I think Flower Lady, I'm trying to remember a couple people. Dawn, maybe. I'm always forgetting who exactly. But a few of us hang out. So join us on Sunday. Arctic Legacy, of course, as well. And the mods. All right. So anyway, have a very good night, guys. Again, happy baby to Callum. Congratulations to Callum and Angelica, our mod Callum, and our member of our community, Angelica, who just had a baby. Our second baby, our second Aravosis report baby. Our first one was Syndicate and Michaela. And now we've got Callum and Angelica. So very nice. So, 6 passengers in the Philly crash. Oh God, that's bad. Oh, that is worse than it sounded. Ugh, that's horrible. Yeah. Ugh. Ay. All right, guys. Have a good night. All right. Bye, you Discord. Good to see you guys. All right. Start with Discord. Then I'm doing YouTube, then TikTok. All right. Discord. Boop. All right. YouTube. Good to see you guys. Boom. All right.